Campus, first and foremost. I mean, if any of you guys have ever been there, that place is, I mean, it's just a beautiful campus just to be on, and the architecture and things like that. It's just a cool place, and there's not a lot of college campuses like it. Definitely more of a small school feel. Not a lot around there, and not necessarily for everybody, but from visiting it and just being around there, I thought it was really cool. And then obviously, a ton of tradition behind their program. As far as the history of football, one of the better programs there have ever been. And then just like the game day environments there, really passionate, loyal fans. And that was actually, I think that was the first school I ever visited.
Yeah.
So I think that probably made a big impact on me. And then that coupled with the fact that Ohio State at the time wouldn't offer me, so that that was my second choice for sure.
Yeah.
I've heard some fans that are concerned that Ohio State might not be motivated for this game because you guys aren't in the college football playoff. When you hear that, do you kind of laugh at that, or do you feel like there's some validity in that, or just what's your
No,
thoughts?
not at all. I mean, I get that. There was a lot of people that said national championship or bust, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But for us, I mean, this is a huge game. I actually told myself, like, if we don't make it in the playoff, I want to play Notre Dame. Tons of talent on their team, and it's a huge game. And just like when we were, coming off the Michigan State loss and we had to respond and play well, even though we didn't necessarily control our destiny and may not get in the playoff like we wanted to. We have, if you don't respond and you don't play well in those games, you're phony. The whole culture of your program is just, it's a lie, basically. So, I'm not saying we're guaranteed to win a game or anything like that, but just how you respond, and if you come out and you compete and you play hard, I think is a good indicator.
And it would be the 50th win for the senior class. I imagine that would be a huge motivator for you guys. I think it's the most in Ohio State history if you win.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate, and my teammates that I came in here with, and a couple of the guys that were here prior to Coach Meyer arriving, and we've been fortunate to kind of get this program back on course because there's a little rough patch there. Been through a lot, got to do a lot of cool things, and that'd kind of be the icing on the cake to go out with not only a win against a quality opponent, but 50 wins in 4 years. It's pretty amazing.
From what you've seen, what you've seen of Notre Dame defensively, what do you see? What jumps out at them that you're going to have to be ready for here in a couple of
They're
weeks?
fairly similar to Team Up North. They play 4 down, but they'll bump to odd. But I think the thing they have is, they have some really big time players on that defense. Everybody knows about Jalen Smith and Sheldon Day. They just got, high caliber players, just like we have. I'm sure a lot of the players that went there could have came here and vice versa. So, like I said, there's just going to be talent all over the field, and it's going to make for a really competitive and I think physical game.
Taylor, this is not a playoff game, but does it feel like it to you all? And you just said that you wanted to play Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Is that a reason why? Because these are two teams that are good enough to be in the playoff and to be championship contenders. Is that maybe the hook that you all will treat this like that kind of a forum?
I mean, this is my last game, so this is a championship game for me. I think all the New Year's Six games, regardless of if you're in the playoff or not, I don't think they've lost any luster just because you're not going to be playing for the championship. And if we weren't, like I said, if we weren't to perform well, or we come out just kind of lazy, and it'd just be reflective that our program is phony, and it's just not the case. And I'm excited for this game. This is an opportunity, and I think something really cool that I've noticed is in practice, in bowl practice, like we're not playing a game, until January basically, and there's as much energy in practice and enthusiasm in practice as there has been all year. Really competitive, guys just enjoying playing football. So I think that's really exciting for me to see going into this game.
Taylor, is it kind of the opposite of what Dave asked you? He said, is the disappointment going to be sort of a lack of motivation, but can you use that to create what Urban calls an angry football team? I mean, you've got Zeke being 8th in the Heisman race and Joey Bosa overlooked by some. Is this going to be an angry football team, perhaps?
I mean, I guess you could say that. I think, the biggest thing that comes from us losing that game is just you really take a hard look in the mirror and see the things you did wrong and the things you need to improve upon in order to play at the level that you're capable of. So, angry football team, maybe not. But a football team that's performing better, 100% yes.
Reflect on that Michigan game. Everything just obviously clicked, and that's a very good defense at their place. 42 points, almost 500 yards of total offense. Describe it for me. What clicked in that game that hadn't clicked all year?
Like I said, I think after losing a game, you just take a hard look in the mirror, and because it's kind of hard after a win to be like, oh, okay, well, we need to get better at this, we get better at that. I think it was big for us coming off a loss to see, okay, like we actually need to like get this or get that going, fix this, fix that, and then obviously, the game plan was pretty simplified. We just ran a little bit of tempo, ran power, tight zone, stuff like that, and then obviously Coach Warner got to go up in the box and call the plays, and then all that coupled with the fact that it's a rivalry game, it's a huge game. But like I said, I think the biggest thing for us coming off that loss was to kind of show what our program is about. Yeah, we lost. Yeah, we don't really control our destiny, but what are we going to do now?
This is a weird question. 10 years ago they played in the Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Did you watch that game?
Did not.
Okay. Well, that ruins my second question, so I'm not going to ask you
Must have
that.
a basketball game.
Do you have any friends on Notre Dame's roster that you met through the recruiting process that you still keep in touch with, or no?
There's guys I know from the recruiting process, like Nick Martin. He hosted me on my official visit there. Ronnie Stanley, he was there when I was on my official. So, I know some of the guys there, but not necessarily keep in touch because, you get to your own school, friends with the guys on your own team, and you're just so busy. But they're just definitely good guys, good players, and, wish them well.
You guys have such a veteran offensive line, especially a guy like yourself, I'm sure, as a coach on the field, but having a guy like Jim Cordell on the sideline for you, the Michigan game guy was a starter here, played in the NFL. How much did that help you guys, you think, having Jim Cordell on the sideline for you?
I liked it, and I think, Coach Warner's always been used to being on the sideline, but, the coaching staff decided that it was best for us to get him up there, and I thought, Jim did an awesome job. One, I just like him as a person. He's just a good dude. And then obviously he has that high-level experience of playing football. I think probably the best quality that he has is he stays really calm. Because if the coaches are to get all worked up, get upset, then the players are gonna be like that. They're gonna get all pissed and stuff like that. So Jim stays really calm on the sideline, and he just kind of communicates what needs to be done. So I think he did a great job of that.
Yeah, so I was thinking a lot of people were interested what his demeanor would be like, kind of thrust into that and stuff. Were you interested in knowing how he would handle it? Taylor, or did he handle it the way you thought he would?
I guess
kind of what you kind of
yeah.
answered, but is it, he is down there, it's a Michigan game, and
I guess I didn't really
think about
it. I wasn't really thinking about it. I wasn't really worried about it. I was just wanting to win the football game. But after the fact, I think he handled it really well,
Yeah.
and I appreciate the way he handled it.
does he have coaching in his DNA, do you think? Do you feel like he could
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
proceed, and why? Just from the things you just delineated, and
Well, because number one, first and foremost, he knows football.
yeah.
And I think the fact that he has played the position that he's coaching right now, I think that's huge. Because there's little nuances where, if you didn't necessarily play the position, you wouldn't understand them, and you wouldn't be able to get the point across of how to do them or what they are even.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I think he's cool and calm, and he stays poised. And I think that's the mark of a good coach.
How ironic is it that your final college football game is going to be Notre Dame and Ohio State?
It's super ironic. Yeah.
I would
It is,
think
'cause,
you've sat and thought about it a little bit. You go ahead.
Yeah, like I said before, if we didn't make the playoff, this is the game I wanted. I wanted to play Notre Dame, and it's just kind of odd that I almost started my career there, but
Right.
now I'm going to end my career playing them. So it's kind of cool.
And why did you want to play Notre Dame though? Because of that irony, or just
No.
because
It's just because you look at the teams that were probably not going to make it in. They have a ridiculous amount of talent. Tons of guys all over the field, every position. Guys that could have came here, and we have guys that could have gone there if we wanted to. So
Yeah.
I just think it's just a good matchup of just all kinds of talent all over the field, and two just really good teams that had a legitimate shot for most of the season of making it into the playoffs.
Taylor, when you play a traditional road game, like when y'all went to Blacksburg this year, you're not there a week early. you don't have press conferences, every day or banquets or tours or what have you. Just what's it like preparing for a bowl game as opposed to a regular game with all the kind of outside stuff that's going on?
Yeah, I think with a bowl game, there's a lot more distractions because obviously it's a lot bigger stage than just a regular season game. Not to say going and playing in Blacksburg was a small stage by any means. Tons of people watch that game, I'm sure. There's just like you said, all the media stuff going on, all the little banquets and things like that. It's just a lot of distractions, and you can't really get caught up in, I get to go talk to the media and say this, say that. Like, at the end of the game, at the end of the day, you're there to play a football game, and you're there to win a football game. So you got to keep that the primary thing.
And then at the same time, these trips are obviously designed for y'all to have some fun too. Mm-hmm. How do you make sure that it's not? Josh said, you have to kind of find a balance to where it's not. If you were there for a week, just work,
yeah,
you'd be miserable by the time the game came around. How do you make sure you also kind of like relax some?
That's something that's hard to verbalize.
Yeah.
Like Josh said, and you do have to find a balance. You can't be 100% locked in and serious at all times. And I just think me being an older player, I have kind of a good grasp on what a balance would be for myself, and I'm pretty sure that would hold true to other people. And I'm not worried about the older guys, the guys that have played a lot, the guys that have been in bowl games. It's the younger guys, and it's kind of been our job all year, not just at a bowl game, to kind of keep them in check and make sure they're on the right path. So, not something I'm too worried about.
The mock drafts that are out. Go ahead.
You mentioned this is your last game as a Buckeye. It's also your last game at the Slobs.
Yeah.
Are you trying to enjoy every moment these last few weeks with them?
Yeah, I said earlier, the thing that's really exciting for me is the level of enthusiasm and energy in practice right now. Bowl practices are generally always just fun because we're really competitive. It's a lot of ones-on-ones and things like that, and you're not doing a ton of individual drill work and things like that. And obviously we're trying to get ready for a game, but the game's a little ways out, so it's not super tense right now. We're able to just have fun, and I think that's a cool thing right now. We always try to go out to eat a lot or go hang out a lot afterwards because we have more free time now. So bowl season's one of my favorite times of the year for sure.